Hey everyone, and welcome to the review on the Knightmare Batman from Batman vs Superman by Hot Toys. Hope you enjoy this review. I'll try and go nice and in depth for you. I want to talk first a little bit about the scene from the film that this is from. I do really like the Nightmare scene. It's a toss-up between that scene and the scene where Batman saves Martha. My two favourite scenes in the film. Probably that is the case for a lot of people. They're two very cool scenes. What I love about the fight scene when Batman's taken on all those, what are they, Superman's soldiers before the parademons come along? Those guys all in black who start shooting everyone. Usually with a scene where one person is taking on multiple people, there's always going to be at least one person in that fight scene that doesn't quite get the choreography right. Or, you say to yourself, how come that guy didn't shoot him when he had the chance? Or how come he didn't punch him when he had the chance? The cool thing about the scene is, obviously, Superman wants Batman taken alive, so that's why you can kind of get away with the fact that Batman's taken on all these people and no one just shoots him in the bloody head. So that kind of rules out the whole Dark Knight Rises scenario where Batman was taking on people and people were falling down without even being hit. Don't know what happened with that movie with the fight choreography and the editing, but I really do like the Nightmare scene. I think Batman looks amazing in that scene. It's very different, very beastly and badass looking. And I do really like the Batman vs Superman film. I know the theatrical version was just torn apart, but the Ultimate Edition, that's the version we were actually meant to see. That's the version Zack Snyder wanted us to see. He obviously put a hell of a lot of passion into the movie. It is basically like a comic book put on film. I mean, I watched a documentary on YouTube about one of the main flaws that someone felt the film had, and that it was filled with nothing but moments. And Zack Snyder, that's the kind of thing he likes to do. He likes to focus mainly on the imagery and just create moment after moment after moment and not really have scenes in between those moments. Now, I don't really agree with that. I know what the guy was talking about. Zack Snyder is a very visual kind of film director, but he's just great at, making a comic book come to life on film. I mean, there's a lot of moments I've noticed when I'm looking for backgrounds for showcase videos and stuff like that. I noticed with Man of Steel and as well with Batman vs Superman, you can literally pause it at any moment when these guys are on screen and it looks like it could be a comic book panel brought to life. So I've got to say, I do think Zack Snyder gets a really hard time. Then again, he's not perfect. I tried to watch Sucker Punch once. I couldn't get more than 15 minutes into it. I had to turn it off. It was horrible. But I do really like Man of Steel. I like the sort of remake of Dawn of the Dead that he did. I like 300. And I really like Batman vs Superman. The tone of the film seems to be getting more light. Obviously, a lot of people complained about the darkness of the Batman vs Superman film, but I like the darkness of the DC films. I think let DC be dark and keep Marvel, the lighter side of it. Obviously, Marvel has its dark moments too. Civil War had some pretty dark stuff in there. But, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. One thing I'll do, guys, I'll take away the desert parts of his outfit and I will put a cape on him like I did before, and I'll show you at least from the waist up what he looks like as regular Batman. Now, obviously this one apparently has slightly smaller arms to accommodate for the coat that he's wearing so that it doesn't bulk up too much and allow for movement. So the regular Batman that comes out I think will be a little bit chunkier body-wise than this one, although this one is quite chunky. But yeah, at one point in the video I will take off all his desert gear and I'll put the cape on him. I use the Takara Batman Begins cape, which I actually have on my Batman Returns at the moment. It's a really nice cape, awesome material, flows really well. I know it's too long for Batman Returns, but I just can't stand his stock cape anymore. It's too hard to work with, so I use the Takara cape on him at the moment. But it's the cape that I used on this guy just to kind of have a bit of fun and set him up as regular Batman, at least from the waist up anyway. Because obviously these trousers, there's no batsuit under those apparently. I haven't actually looked, but I have seen on Facebook and some other like YouTube and stuff, there doesn't seem to be any batsuit continuing down to his legs. It just stops at about where the belt is. Just get a look at these two boxes together. Now in the unboxing I did mention that I thought the Knightmare Batman box was slightly more fancy than this one. I don't think that's actually the case. I was wrong about that. But it is a very nice box design. I like how this is meant to kind of look like the texture of his coat, and this is obviously meant to look like the texture of Superman's boots, maybe, because that's the only real part that I can think that would kind of match that sort of pattern there. But yeah, I like how they have that, the sort of Superman boots kind of pattern. And on here you've got the coat from Batman, although you can tell straight away that is not that color. But yeah, nice boxes. I do like the images they chose to go for on the, see, you can even see the bit there where he's being overpowered. You've got the side profile, the bit where he's looking across at the city, this bit, bat signal up in the sky, and Gotham City continuing. Very nice. I do like the box. As simple as it is, it definitely does the job. They look nice together. The mouth plates are pretty decent, although as I mentioned before, and I'm not very happy about the lack of stubble. It's a shame, considering Ben Affleck is very recognizable as Batman because of that stubble. It's just not really there on the figure. They gave him kind of a 5 o'clock shadow. They did try to put a bit of stubble on there, but it's very subtle. But one thing I will say is, unlike with the Hot Toys Christian Bale Batman figures, in particular the earlier 1/6 scale figures, they did fix it a lot with the 1/4 scale and with the Armory version that came with Alfred and Bruce Wayne. Those faceplates were really good. But before, especially with the Batman Begins and the DX02, I think it was, and even the first Dark Knight Rises Batman, the faceplates, there was always at least one that seemed really pointless. But with this, I would honestly say the faceplates, apart from the fact that they lack the stubble, the likeness to Ben Affleck is fantastic, and the expressions that they have is really good. You can really tell that that's Ben Affleck, even though it's just literally his chin and his mouth. This one could pretty much be anyone, but it is really cool to have a very angry, teeth-showing faceplate. Although on the finished product, they didn't seem to bother painting the gums between the teeth and the lip, so his gums are just white. And that is, well, you can see at the bottom teeth, they've done a little bit of pink on the gums, but they didn't really do it thoroughly. So that's a bit of a letdown. Not too much of a big deal, but that one really looks like Ben Affleck as well. So I would say the faceplates, even though they lack the stubble, and that is a bit of a pain in the arse, they are very good expressions and a great likeness to Ben Affleck. They provide you with this tool for removing the faceplates. You poke that up into the head and just poke the faceplate out, and you can remove the eyes with this one. They don't give you any interchangeable eyes with this version, but the regular Batman will come with 3 sets of eyes that can be interchanged with this figure as well. So you'll be able to have this figure with eyes looking to the side or looking up slightly, so you can tilt his head down and get him looking really moody, or you can just leave the straightforward eyes in there. But you will be able to interchange the eyes from the regular Batman that's coming out soon with this one, so you'll be able to swap about, and you'll also be able to swap around the mouth plates as well, so that will be fun. I wonder if on the regular Batman they'll actually add the stubble, because it's been delayed, so I doubt the reason it's been delayed is so they can add stubble to the faceplates, but it would be very nice if the regular Batman at least had a bit more effort put into it when it comes to that stubble. You do get a spare scarf with a wire going all the way through it so that you could wrap it around his head and tie it off at the back. Now I'm not sure whether this is meant to go on top of the scarf that's already there, or you're meant to remove this scarf and then put this one on. I really am not 100% sure about that. If someone could let me know in the comments what the situation is. But either way, and they do seem to be slightly different shades. No, they're the same color, sorry, that's my bad. It's just the camera lying to me. But yeah, you get the one that's kind of just loose and goes around his neck here. I think that even has a wire in it as well, to be honest. But you get 2. I have to look into that and find out why you get 2 exactly, but you get 2. You get some spare chunky wrist pegs in case you break the ones that are on him, so that's always good. Spare wrist pegged action. The hands are pretty decent, some cool poses for him. I've got one fist on him, here's the other one. As far as the paint job on the hands, it's a bit hit or miss. They're either quite accurate to how someone who's been lurking about in the desert would look, but the green paint on these straps, sometimes I look at it and I think it looks really messy, and other times you know, it doesn't look too bad. But you do get 6 hands altogether. You've got these ones, which could be used, I guess, for holding, or at least making it try to look like he's holding the binoculars. I was trying to think which hands you would use with those to get him to hold the binoculars up to his face, but there doesn't really seem to be any specifically for that. You've got your gun holding hands, you've got your fists, you've got your relaxed hands. I guess you'd have to try and make these work with the binoculars pose somehow. But yeah, you've got your your hands, and they attach nicely to the gauntlets and kind of give you this kind of fluid or flush, or whatever the word I'm looking for, a nice sort of flow. They look like they're all one thing because of the strapping, so that's cool. But yeah, the hands are pretty decent. His binoculars are really nicely done. They've got a crack in the lens just like in the film. There's a nice amount of weathering on those. See there? All the scratches and scrapes. Very nice. The strap itself could use a little bit of weathering, but be careful not to break it. Let's see what I can do about that. Maybe just a knife, just kind of lightly scrape it along the material, just to make it look a bit more worn. But yeah, binoculars are very nicely done. The goggles are very nicely done, although they just need a little bit of a repaint on the strap. That should be darker. And the goggles themselves should possibly be a bit darker as well, but I don't really want to mess with that because I might end up messing up the kind of cool sand effect that they've got in the crevices of the goggles here. So maybe just a light bit of a repaint around the edges and definitely the strap, but I'll leave the glass alone obviously. But yeah, the goggles are nicely done. They fit on the head really well. They don't seem too fragile, so that's good. And we've got this awesome gun. I do not know the name of it. I know someone out there will, but it's really nicely detailed. There's a Joker card on there, which is interesting considering it's from a Knightmare scene. So I'd love to know a little bit more about why Batman has a Joker card on the gun. Seems quite twisted in a way, which is pretty sweet. And I like this detail here of, what would you call this, like a little sash or a scarf or something that's connecting the strap to the gun itself. This moves up and down. This actually comes out quite easily. I almost lost it at one point, so be careful. I haven't actually tried to see if this comes out the magazine. They usually do. Yes, it does. Let's have a look. Bullets inside. Nice. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Go on, get in there. Yes. So yeah, nice gun. Very nicely detailed. He holds it pretty well. The little magazine does come out of the pistol, but the hammer doesn't move and you can't slide the slider. But yeah, the bullets are there and this does come out. The base itself is very nice, same as the Superman version, obviously with just a different nameplate, but the actual pole that holds the figure in place is a different design. This is the first time I've had one like this from Hot Toys. The groin grabber, as you can see, is different from your usual, let's just use Snake as an example, or Snake's base. See that? The usual one that we're all used to. It's a Snake. Yeah, they've changed the design. It's alright. I guess it's an improvement. It's a little bit less unsightly. You don't get the two, these two little black doodads that you can always see there, which can look a bit awkward sometimes. This is slightly better and it's adjustable. You've got a little screw that holds it in place. You just need to make sure you've got a little screwdriver that's small enough to be able to get to that. Sorry about the focus. But yeah, nice base, in keeping with the rest of the designs from the line. I've just positioned the coat like this so you can see that it does have a wire running all the way through it, including all the way up into the collar that goes around all the way. And you can obviously put the collar up at the back like it is in the film. That's something you need to remember to do. A lot of the early pictures that came out, no one bothered to do that, but it is quite an important little part of the look. So you can bend, it stays in place. It's pretty sweet. I do find myself messing around with this quite a lot, trying to get it to look just right. Haven't quite managed it yet. But as I've said before, the coat does need some weathering. It's really new looking. It's a very light colour compared to how it appears in the film. Also, the texture of the coat doesn't quite seem how it did in the movie to me. Now, I know I'm going to be saying the wrong thing here, but in the film, I checked it recently. Nice and HD copy. The coat almost looks more like a brown suede. I know it is a leather. It's a very thin kind of leather, and it is worn and beaten. So it does have that kind of rough appearance. But this is very much a kind of brand new light leather clean look. So the color is definitely different, and as I say, in the film it does look like more of a kind of, not suede, but something more similar to that than this kind of leather.
So, I mean, it's a really nice coat. It does look fantastic. You wouldn't have any complaints. I mean, you don't have to weather this and it will still look amazing. I haven't done anything to it yet and it still looks badass. I keep looking at this figure all the time since I got it. But I am looking forward to weathering the hell out of this and seeing what I can do with it. But it's a very nice coat. And to show you the back. Yep, the wire goes all the way through. You can bend this. This bit's thinner than the rest of the coat, so you can kind of, I'm going to shred this up a bit more and paint it a bit darker because it's been trailing on the ground. I've actually got a lot of sand ready for showcase videos, and I might actually just bury this coat in sand and leave it there for a day, see if that has any kind of effect on it. And there's your buttons going up. As I zoom in, you can see this cool kind of effect. That's literally just, you could do that by putting some black paint on a toothbrush and then flicking the bristles and getting the flick of the paint to go on the coat. You could just do that more and make this effect more intense. That's one way you could do it. But they have tried to put a little bit of weathering on there, but it's very, very light and almost kind of not there at all, really. But yeah, the coat doesn't seem to hinder the articulation too much. I was able to move his arms around pretty well. So yeah, all in all, I would say the coat is a very, very decent part of this outfit. Alright, so now I'm going to start to remove the Knightmare Batman sections of his outfit and show you how he looks, at least from the waist up, as regular Batman, and put a cape on him. But I just wanted to show you, once you take off the gauntlet, the jacket kind of goes into this kind of, it looks like kind of like an old sleeve or something from like an 80s jacket. I don't know what I'm talking about, just ignore me. But yeah, so that's what that looks like underneath the gauntlet. The gauntlet just slides over the top and stays on there nicely. Let's get all this stuff off and make him look like Batman. Alright, so I've removed the coat and the scarf and the gauntlets, obviously. Now here is the cowl. I guess this will be exactly the same when we get the regular Batman. It's very soft, this whole section here, like really soft. Very, very soft indeed. So that's something to bear in mind. Let me just show you up in here. That's how you get to the mouth plate, and the eyes can be removed. I think that's the eyes there. See that sort of black chunk sticking out? You can use that there to grab hold of the eyes and take them out, and then you can interchange them with the regular Batman that's coming out soon. A little bit more of a look at the stubble that they tried to put on there. It's very subtle. Now this joint, very different from what we're used to. This just goes on here. Let me just see what I'm doing. Gotta be careful. Comes on and off really easy, and surprisingly there is quite a lot of movement in this. You can turn his head, you know, no problem. Look down, look up, quite high. So really impressive, considering, you know, that you'd think there'd be no movement whatsoever. And I have seen people on Facebook saying, oh, there's no movement. There really is, so don't worry about that. Hot Toys have got you covered on the neck movement on this one, despite the appearance of the cowl. So that is really nice, and it's an amazing likeness to Ben Affleck, even without the stubble. Now let's talk about the suit. Everyone's asking about the suit. Movement's not really hindered at all. It doesn't feel like rubber. It feels more like a material that has rubber parts onto it. It's not, let me just feel. I've got Superman right here. This feels a bit more, not sticky or tacky, but a bit more, I don't know. It feels, well, basically it just feels a little bit more tacky and sticky than this does. This is kind of like a padded outfit. You can, there's quite a chunky body underneath here, but it's quite squishy when you touch it. See that? And I think that's actually the outfit itself that has that kind of padding built into it. Let me just zoom right in and get a good look at the kind of texture on this. It is really well done, and you know, it doesn't hinder the articulation. It does look nice and beefy. Apparently these arms are going to be, well, they are slightly smaller than the arms we'll get on the regular one. This is to accommodate for the big coat that he wears. So apparently this body is slightly, or at least the arms are slightly smaller than they will be on the regular Batman. Now there is a zip And at the back, let me see if I can just take that down, see if we can see what's going on underneath here. That's just a black body underneath, and yet the suit is very thick. This is really thick, so all this muscle padding that you're seeing is part of this suit. So that's interesting. It's really thick and padded, and there's a black body underneath. I'll do that up probably later. Basically, yeah, it would seem that the suit itself is what's creating this kind of six-pack, and the chest, the arms, however, that's the actual sort of plastic body underneath. There's literally just sleeves, whereas this section is all kind of padded and muscle-like. So I hope I've covered that well enough for you. Let me just give you another close-up of the suit. So despite all the warnings in the instruction manual, actually seems quite durable and well done. So let's get a cape on him and see how that looks. Alright, so this is my Takara Batman Begins 1/6 scale figure cape. Now Takara Batman Begins came out back in 2007 or maybe 2006, just after Batman Begins came out. This is still to date one of the best capes you can get. And I think a lot of custom cape makers have taken a lot of inspiration from this. The way it drapes, the thinness of it, it really is a fantastic cape. So yeah, it is a Batman Begins cape, but it is nice enough, you know, you can really position it and do some cool stuff. See how you can just literally pop it over there, and that's how I was able to take some pictures of regular Batman standing in front of Superman. So there you go, we'll just put that on like that. And put the cowl on. I've got to be careful. Don't want to break my figure. Cost me an arm and a leg. Do you know what? I'm going to pause this. Come back to you in a minute. Alright, so there we go. That's the cape on. Now obviously the cape doesn't go over the shoulders the way it really would on the actual figure, but you can kind of, because of the thinness and the way you can move the Takara cape, you can mess around with that and try and, you know, try and give it a bit more of an accurate look, but it takes some doing. But as you can see, that doesn't look too bad. But that gives you a good look at what the see, that's what you didn't see before. A lot of people figured it out in the comments and on Facebook. They're like, how come he's not showing it from the waist down? It's just the Knightmare Batman with the cape on it. But yeah, that's a little preview. It is nice to see how he's going to look, and obviously I think he'll be a little bit more beefy body wise when the regular one comes out. But it was really nice to be able to just get this kind of sneak peek, especially the side profile is awesome. Look at that. The camera's not really focusing on him very well. But yep, that's how I was able to do that. It's pretty nice. But obviously because of the strapping around his gauntlets, that kind of kills the illusion. And obviously from the waist down he looks very much like Bane. The belt that we have here, I don't know if this is going to be the exact same on the regular one. This is very loose. You can certainly move it around a lot, and it's all very kind of loose and wobbly, if that makes any sense. But everything feels like it is just about to come off, but it doesn't. But it's not like a solid piece. Well, it is a solid piece, but everything feels kind of loose and kind of almost like it's going to come off the belt, but it doesn't. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you. But it's a nice looking belt. Just steady up my hands a little bit. Certainly has a lot of weathering and scrapes and scratches on it. But yep, that is that look. I'll put him back to normal now, get some poses done. Now I know I haven't really got him up in a very screen accurate look. He had his goggles on and the scarf was over his mouth when he was looking through the binoculars, but I just wanted to show you, you can get him to do that pose, which a lot of people were asking about. So I had to make myself do it. It was a bit of a tricky one, but he can do it. Obviously that's not the best pose possible, but it's just literally to show you his arms will go up there and you can hold them, and you will be able to pose him if you want to, looking through his binoculars. That's pretty nifty. Scanning the horizon. I don't know quite what I'm going for with this pose, but just to show you a little bit more arm movement. Bit of Kung Fu kind of coming at you sort of pose going on there. this pose doesn't really work when he's on his own, you would really need Hot Toys to release the black sort of soldier, Superman soldiers, whatever they were, who were attacking him. You'd really need about 2 of those on either side, sort of holding his arms. But this is kind of the mouth plate you would use for that sort of very last moment of the, the big fight bit in the dream, where he's being overpowered by the soldiers and the parademons are coming along. He's on his knees and he's breaking that guy's neck. But yeah, he can kneel down, and you can move the arms really well and position things, do whatever you want to do. And if you did have any of those soldiers, or if you could custom make something, then you would be able to have a nice cool setup with him on his knees at the end of that big fight where he's being overpowered. The big general powered parademon guy just bashes him on the back of the head. But yeah, he can kneel down and do all that stuff. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm finding it quite tricky to put him in dynamic poses from the waist down, which is affecting the poses that I can do on the top half of his body. The arms move great, the head moves great. You can get a pretty nice bit of movement out of his torso, but the legs just won't really. That's as much as I can get them to spread apart. I don't know if it's this outfit that's doing that. I've tried pulling the trousers up a bit more to see if that will give a bit more movement in the legs. There's a separation here, so you can move the ankles really well, and the knee bend is fantastic. But the actual thighs, that's another story. I can barely move the thighs, to be honest, on this figure, and it's making it really difficult to make him look like he's sort of moving forward and punching his way through things, because the legs are a big part of that, and I just can't really get his legs to do anything other than this. But bear in mind, remember what I said, the knees are great, you can bend them fantastic, and the ankles move really well too. It's just the thighs will not seem to move much. So that's really affecting the kind of looks that I'm able to get with him. But arms pose really well, the head moves really well, torso's pretty good, knees are great, ankles are great, but the actual thighs, not so much. It's kind of really stopping me from having fun here. But yeah, great looking figure. Just those damn thighs, man. Okay, so I'm going to swap out the face plates and let you have a look at how they all look. Just move around this one. Awesome side profile. Looks really cool. Let's just zoom in. Alright, so that's just the neutral one. Swap it out now for the slightly open mouth with the teeth showing. Okay, and here's the other mouthpiece. Notice the, what do you call that, the little beauty mark or something? Right there, little dot. Accurate to Ben Affleck. Side profile with this mouth plate. Looks pretty sweet. The work on the teeth inside there is really well done. And it definitely looks like Ben Affleck, even though it's only that little section of his face showing. Reminiscent of the original DX, I can't remember which number now, but the first Michael Keaton DX Batman figure by Hot Toys. They really managed to nail his likeness, even though they only had the mouth and the chin to work with. And they've done it again here with Ben Affleck. And here's the one that seems to be most people's favourite mouth plate, although it is probably my least favourite out of all of them, simply because they didn't paint the gums. So you've got the kind of Brandon Lee Crow figure effect where the teeth look really big and white because they didn't bother to paint the gums, which is a real pain in the butt. It's still really nicely done though. It is a very nice mouth plate. Detail on those teeth and the tongue and everything, really good. Come around the side, looks really aggressive, very nice. But yeah, just a shame, lack of stubble, and they didn't bother painting the gums between the lips and the teeth. But there you go, that's how that looks. Really nice weathering on his gun holster, that's cool. Like the strapping. And also, worth mentioning, I like how they put the kind of sand in the tracks or the tread of his boots. See how the sand's gotten in there? Really nicely done. Great articulation in those ankles. Here's a little height comparison between the two figures. They're both level. Batman has a slight advantage because of the ears, but basically they are more or less the same height. Actually, the shoulders on Batman do look a bit higher than Superman. So I guess Batman is a little bit bigger. Not much. But I'm going to leave it at that now, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this review. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I've put in a lot of effort on these videos to try and keep you guys informed. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm going to do the showcase video next, I guess. That's what all the sand I gathered was for. I need lots of sand for the showcase video. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I will say honestly, if you're a Batman fan, this is pretty much a must get. It is a beautiful figure. It's something that I can't stop looking at. There are figures sometimes that you get, like the Alien Warrior, I think was the last Hot Toys figure I got, and I do really like it, and I'm glad I have it, but I certainly don't look at it every day and think, oh my god, it's amazing. I am glad to have it. I love the film Aliens, so I kind of had to have it. I did say Aliens, then not Alien. But yeah, I think this is an absolute beast of a figure. A really, really, really cool Batman. Very different. It's the first Ben Affleck Batman that we've had from Hot Toys. I was quite surprised. I thought we'd get the armored one first. But that was the one I was the least interested in. The Knightmare Batman and the regular Batman are the two Batman figures I've really wanted to get recently. And all the accessories are cool. There's a lot of fun to be had if you are going to go down the weathering route with this guy. Everyone can end up with their own kind of individual Batman figure. I'm looking forward to doing the weathering on this one. But apart from the slight annoying lack of posability in the thighs, everything else has been really well done. I like the bat suit, I like how they're doing that, and I love the cowl. I like the interchangeable mouth plates, and just everything about him is pretty much awesome. So, yeah, I don't know how much you guys are going to have to pay for it. I paid over the odds for mine because I got it day of release from Hong Kong, shipped to me with EMS shipping from Kidult Toy Shop. It was quite expensive, but I didn't care. This is one of those ones I absolutely had to have as soon as it came out, and I don't regret a thing. An absolute masterpiece. I'd love to know what you guys think of it when you get yours. But as I say, thanks for the support on the videos. I'm going to keep them coming, showcase video coming up, and then once that's done, it's time to weather this bad boy. Do all that weathering, get him looking really nasty. So yep, thanks for your support. Let me know if there's anything I forgot to cover, and I'll try and include it in a future video. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will be back with you soon. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.